didn't speak to my parents for 6 months. Now all I have are unanswered questions. I'm Lillian. I celebrated my 19th birthday when this story began in my life. I want to tell you something that happened recently. It is a story about love and a big mistake. Mistake? No. It is, in fact, a blunder that would hunt me for my life. Want to dig in more? Please stay with me until the end. I'm my parents' only child, born after they'd given up hope of having a baby. By the time I turned 19, my father was 60 and my mother 58. They weren't controlling at all. Being an only child, they adored me and spent lots of quality time with me. Even when my friends moved out, my father encouraged me to stay longer. He also funded my university education, saving me from crippling student debt. I excelled at school, and although I had many male friends, I never had a boyfriend. I always believed someone special would come along. Then a charming, captivating man entered my life. I eagerly introduced Tristan Wolfe to my parents, expecting a warm welcome. However, when Tristan shook my father's hand, my dad's usual smile disappeared. Despite this, he was welcoming, and Mum prepared a lovely dinner. Later, Dad showed Tristan to the guest room for the night, much to Tristan's displeasure. He'd hoped to sleep in my room and make a good impression. Bidding him good night, he kissed me passionately, whispering, "Your parents are rich, and I don't want to offend them." Turning to my bedroom next to my parents, I overheard them talking. Dad told Mom, "That boy seems manipulative. I can't trust him with Lillian. She has a bright future. She's an excellent student. He'll ruin everything." Mom asked, "How do you know?" Dad replied, "Gut feeling." I couldn't sleep that night. It wasn't that I believed him, but I resented his snap judgment after just one meeting. I suspected jealousy, a boy taking his precious girl away. The next morning, after Tristan left, I confronted Dad. I announced Tristan's plan to move in. Dad paled. "That's a terrible idea," he said. "Having a boyfriend is great. Every girl does it. But remember, he's not your whole life. You're a brilliant student. Focus on your studies and career, and get to know him better. Living together so young is a huge mistake." I argued back. "Do you think I'm incapable of making my own decisions? I turned 18 a year ago." But Dad remained firm, refusing to let Tristan move in. I stayed quiet. One night, with Dad away, Mom came to my room and asked to talk. I knew it was about Tristan. "Every young person searches for a partner," she began. "I did too, just like you." I liked her approach. It was different from Dad's. She continued, "Remember, don't rush into anything. I learned that the hard way. My first 3 relationships were mistakes, and I moved on. When I met your dad, I knew what true love was." I replied, "I'm 19. I'm mature." Mom smiled. "Maturity isn't just about age. It's about learning from mistakes. Take your time with this." The next morning, I surprised surprised my parents by moving out with Tristan to a different city. I dropped out of school. He claimed only middle-class people wasted years studying. He was my guiding force, and my parents' well-meaning advice felt suffocating. I cut them off completely, forbidding contact and blocking their numbers. Despite this, Dad tried calling, concealing his number. Instead of talking, I threatened to report him for harassment. Tristan became my whole world, while my parents felt distant and estranged. My life with Tristan was idyllic. His love was all I wanted. It felt like salvation, fulfilling all my dreams. He showered me with flowers daily, gifts every other day, and we dined at fancy restaurants constantly. I finally asked, "When you were in Sydney, you shared a rental to save money. Where's all this money coming from?" He replied, "I'm in the import-export business with several partners. It's very successful." I confessed I made the right choice cutting ties with my parents. He joked, "They're wealthy. You should keep in touch, even if you dislike them. Inherit those millions." We both laughed. Time slipped away. One day, he left his phone by the sofa while in the bathroom. It rang. I answered, saying Tristan would call back shortly. He never left his phone unattended. Hearing the ring, he rushed out, visibly shocked I'd answered. He said nothing, but his unhappiness was clear. That was the first day I saw a different Tristan, the start of a rift between us. The cracks widened. Tristan's charm vanished, revealing a controlling and manipulative personality. He checked my phone, restricted my social life, and began controlling every aspect of my existence. I felt suffocated, but was too proud to acknowledge my error. One evening, I overheard Tristan having a heated phone conversation. He was talking about a deal gone wrong and large sums of money. Curiosity piqued. I decided to dig deeper. I discovered his laptop was left unlocked one night. Nervously, I browsed through his files and found evidence of his involvement in fraudulent activities, including scamming vulnerable people out of their life savings. My world shattered as I realized my parents had been right all along. Before I could confront Tristan, a twist of fate intervened. One day, while shopping at the market, I bumped into my old friend, Emily. Emily looked shocked to see me and offered condolences for my father's passing. I was stunned. I had no idea. Determined to find out more, I rushed back to my hometown. The house I grew up in was locked and lifeless. The neighbors informed me that my mother had moved out after father's death. Distraught and with no one to turn to, I decided to gather more information on Tristan's activities and report him to the authorities. My investigation led me to a secret storage unit rented under a false name. Inside, I found a treasure trove of evidence, documents, fake IDs, and even stacks of cash. Armed with this information, I contacted the police. I felt a mix of fear and relief as I realized I was finally taking control of my life. The police raid was swift. Tristan was arrested and exposed for the fraud he was. My courage had put an end to his schemes, but the cost had been high. I had lost a year of my life and my father. With Tristan behind bars, I knew it was time to find Mom and make amends. My search took me to a small house in a neighboring town. When I knocked on the door, Mother opened it, eyes filled with a mix of surprise and sorrow. "Mom, I'm so sorry," I whispered, tears streaming down my face. Mother hugged me tightly, and we both cried for the lost time and the pain we had endured. Over the following weeks, Mom and me slowly rebuilt our relationship. I learned about Father's final days and the strength Mother had shown. We found solace in each other and began to heal. I decided to channel my pain into something positive. I started a support group for people affected by fraud, using my experience to help others. It wasn't an easy journey, but with Mother's support, I found a new purpose in life. Thanks for sticking with me. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss my new stories.